Welcome to the Panic Button, everyone. I'm Nina.
I'm Jessie.
And today we're going to finish up this Lillytino interview.
It's okay for you to make the assumption and speculate that Kurt Cobain was trans when he is unable to respond to the allegation. Did you not think that that was disrespectful for you to assume, but yet be so adamant how other people should assume your gender?
I fully stand by that video. Kurt Cobain has been gone for 30 years. Kurt Cobain cannot hear us. No matter what we say about Kurt Cobain's gone. Been gone.
But does that make it okay to speculate that they may or may not have been trans?
Yes. I would never speculate about an alive person being trans.
1 second.
I love the comparison, by the way, that, I can't say it about an alive person because then they can fight back. But I can say it about a dead person because they're dead, right? I can spread false information about someone, something that this person never said because it sounds fun for me, right? I can speculate all I want.
When it comes to Lillytino, he calls everybody trans. He calls everyone trans. He just wants everyone to be trans. He wants everyone to be nothing and everything at the same time.
Yeah, because everything is subjective to only what he believes in. I love how his answer was, I stand by that video wholeheartely.
Well, he stands by everything that he has done.
Man.
He has an excuse for everything.
And he's always standing by it. Isn't that a little funny?
And he's always right. Never takes accountability.
Never is he wrong, God forbid.
Because that can impact that person's life if they don't want to come out, if they're not ready to come out, or if they're not trans in the first place. It's the same reason that we look back on any historical figure. For example, Abraham Lincoln, who, when you look at the evidence, shared beds with men. I mean, there's a whole documentary you watch about it.
Hang on, wait. So you're comparing this to examples of people saying that they shared beds with men, which no one, have you ever heard anyone guarantee to you that Abraham Lincoln was gay?
No, I never even heard about it. I heard that his wife was, but I mean...
That's false because I've said it in our videos.
I figured it was just speculation.
There's no solid proof that he was gay. He married a woman, but he wrote to men saying that he missed having them in his bed. But it was also commonplace for men to share beds at that time.
Yeah, you have to take the time into consideration and what the norm was at that time.
And I've also said this, and you can fact check me all you want, but I know it's true that Anne Frank was bi-curious. Anne Frank in her diary wrote a whole segment about learning to make out with a chick and how she really enjoyed it. The chick didn't, but she wanted to do more. So you can give credence to the fact that it's an impulse. You know what I mean? It's something that you see represented in thought patterns and the way people act.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they are what you say they are. Being bi-curious or liking having some of your homies around doesn't make you trans. It doesn't make you a gay what is the word? Gay icon or whatever. A gay historical figure because of something you did privately. You have to do that shit publicly to become a historical figure for it, in my opinion.
What? A historical gay figure?
Yeah, if you're trans, if Kurt Cobain said I'm trans, then yeah, Kurt Cobain was, you know what I mean? That's how Kurt Cobain felt about himself. But Kurt Cobain never said that. Just like Abraham Lincoln never said he was gay. And just like Anne Frank never said she was. So you're putting words into somebody's mouth who can't even defend themselves. And that's the messed up problem in my head.
There was no hint towards him being trans at all, aside from the fact that he wore dresses to be edgy and against the system because that was that's what his thing was during the time when he was famous.
Yes, but you're speculating an entire person's identity based off of
him wearing clothes.
Or even, I know he mentions a quote about how Kurt wanted to, have breasts or something.
But did he say that just to f*** around with journalists because he hated journalists? He hated doing interviews.
How many men say they want boobs?
I think every single man wants boobs, at least for one day.
Point made, you know what I mean? It's not unusual. And yes, Kurt Cobain wore female clothes, but that doesn't mean that he wanted to be a female. It just meant that he was wearing female clothes probably for attention because he had a band he was trying to promote.
But I did a video about it. The details are escaping me, but we speculate that Abraham Lincoln might have been gay. That's the point. We will never for sure know if Abraham Lincoln was gay. Just like we'll never know that Kurt Cobain was trans. But it doesn't hurt to speculate. Who's it hurting? Certainly not Abraham Lincoln. Certainly not Kurt Cobain.
Not out of respect for his family.
What do you mean out of respect?
To speculate about their family member potentially being trans or not. You don't think that's disrespectful to the family?
Well, to suggest that an implication that a deceased family member of yours might have been a certain way.
But if it could affect their image of how people look at them per se,
yeah, it could.
That could be damaging to somebody's image. And if it's your family, that
you say damaging. What about being trans is damaging?
It wouldn't even necessarily just like speculating about anything. So like personal, like even if it wasn't you speculating about them being trans, but like.
What if I was speculating that Abraham Lincoln was a lefty and like lefty uses left hand? Is that okay?
I don't know. I just feel like, and I don't want to say how I feel. Like, okay, I'm trying to keep how I feel out of it.
You can say I don't mind.
I want to keep my feelings out of it. Okay, let's continue to move on. Do you truly think that your content does more good than harm, or have you ever thought that your content or any specific piece of content might have caused more harm than good?
Sorry, I just wanted to comment on the ending of the last one.
Yeah.
To say what harm is it to say that someone is gay or trans, you're not talking about somebody who wasn't in the public eye. People like Abraham Lincoln, to say he was gay is false. He had a wife he was married to, and even if they never had any sex, legally speaking, he was at least bisexual, right? The damage you're doing,
I don't know.
The damage you're doing is implying something that is false, right?
Yeah.
False or not provable.
You can't prove it.
Yes.
You can only
So
speculate.
you're causing harm to their image. You're causing harm to their family who has this memory of them
Well,
that
gay
you're destroying.
Being gay is bad. Is being gay bad?
No, not inherently, but to say that Abraham Lincoln was gay, right?
Yeah.
Invalidates the marriage he had to his wife. Which
So it
invalidates,
makes him look like a bad person.
Right, and if they had,
okay.
I don't know, I'm sure they had some kind of children or whatever the case was, I don't remember.
I think he had sons, yeah.
Yeah, so any children they would have had would be illegitimized if you're saying he's gay. He had to have had sex to produce these children.
Well, gay men can still have sex. I mean, gay men have been having sex with women since the
But that
dawn
would be
of
a
time.
bisexual man nonetheless. You're also changing...
Yeah, technically, yeah.
You're also changing the definition of these people to suit what you want to hear and not what is historically accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it taints people's image. It taints the way people feel. It hurts loved ones, like his wife. Let's say his wife, for example.
I mean, she's dead, so I don't
But
think
like
she cares.
hypothetically, if she lived and you're saying this, or like Courtney
Love.
Love, for example, didn't they have a whole kid together?
Yeah, Frances Bean.
How do you think the kid feels hearing your dad was a tranny?
I think.
How do you think Courtney
I think she's
Love?
progressive, and Courtney Love's definitely progressive.
Do you
so.
think she thinks that he was trans though?
I don't think so.
So and that's the point completely. There are survivors who knew these people personally way more than you do as a bystander, saying or believing in this image that they knew and that you're just trashing to people on the internet. You didn't know Kurt Cobain. You don't know Courtney Love. So you can't sit here and say, "Oh, I believed he was trans."
I mean, you can believe that he was an alien that like got dropped off.
Doesn't mean you should be stating it and
Earth.
pretending it's real.
Yeah, I mean, he does state it as if it's real, not like speculative.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, countless trans creators have spoken out against you and the way in which you choose to create your content. Is this not concerning to you?
Some of those trans creators like to misgender me. I think a big narrative that has been really front and center lately, and I think it's hard to talk about this without bringing this up, is that there is a conspiracy theory amongst trans creators specifically that I am not actually trans.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Well, I think it's important to get into in context of this question. So when I see a trans creator calling me Nick or calling me him, it stinks to see it, but like, how can I take that person seriously? You know?
No, I don't know, because that's like saying I can't pay my bill because somebody misgendered me on the phone. That's like saying I can't pay my bill because somebody misgendered me on the phone. I'm not going to do it because I won't listen to whatever you say I have to do or whatever's going on because you didn't identify me correctly. So therefore you're invalid because you didn't even begin to identify me correctly.
I honestly don't think his transness is valid. I think they could see through it. I don't think they like misgendering him. I think they are accurately clocking him and saying, no, you're prancing around as if you are us and you are nothing like us. And that's the difference.
I think it's funny that Nick can sit there and say that, oh, I don't take you seriously if you misgender me. Well, guess what?
Nobody takes him seriously.
A lot of people take the people who misgender you very seriously. And they truly listen to them because you've made them listen to them. People like you make people listen to us.
Yeah.
Because you make people see the crazy that is in this world. And regular people, not even like normal people, just like regular people, they're not on the same level you're on. Sorry.
Yeah. Crazy narcissist.
What I say is true. Always.
Yeah. And if I do something wrong, I stand by it and I take no accountability or responsibility for my actions.
Because why would I need to? Everyone says it's okay because I'm trans. Yeah.
But eventually he'll be arrested, so.
Obviously not everyone anymore because even the trans people who I agree with all the gender ideology hate you.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you know you've really fallen down the hole.
Yeah, even your troop has left you behind.
Were they really his troop? Or was he just pretending to be a part of them and got away with it for a while until they realized that he was stinking up the joint and making that community look bad and, giving everyone a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to trans people?
And shouldn't
because
that-
of him being the prime example.
And shouldn't that further the point that, like, it should be harder to get into transgender spaces? Because, and I don't mean this in
Like identifying as trans?
Yes, into alternative sex spaces, whatever the case is. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. Lillytino is not the worst looking trans person out there. He's not great. He doesn't look convincing. But he's not the man in the shorts and bikini top.
Oh, boy.
You know what I'm saying?
But he is just like him.
But he's similar.
Just a regular dude, self-IDing.
My point with that is, he isn't the guy in the shorts and the bikini top, but he allows people like that. He promotes people like that by saying, I don't need to change what I am to be trans. By saying, I don't need to change my face, I don't need to change my hair.
You just
I don't
have
need
to say you're
makeup."
trans and then you're trans.
He allows, promotes, and permits the actions of those people in the community. Even, I mean, obviously the Disney stuff is where it becomes the same as those people.
Yeah.
But if you just saw him, you'd be like, oh, great.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be like, oh no, that's a man. You'd be like, oh, I know this is someone trying to look like a woman 9 out of 10 times. Mm-hmm. Just because you can tell. And that's why I say he's not the worst, because there's obviously way worse looking.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I get it. I'm just not. What's your point?
He lets the worst people he allows them in. Like I was just saying, he allows them to walk in because he defends them up, left, down, right, and center.
Well, he represents a bad part of, I guess, the community. And because he is a spokesperson for that bad part of the community, other people see him and go, oh, I could do that too.
Not only that, the things he said. If this is a 2-part video, then in the first part, we heard him say, I'm not going to change my voice. I shouldn't have to change the way I look. I shouldn't have to change the way I speak. I shouldn't have to change the way I act. I should just be seen as a woman.
Yeah, but trans also has a definition, Now he's changing the definition of what trans is into something that just doesn't make any sense.
His advocacy is advocacy for the ugly, disgusting predators to enter our spaces. His actions justify it. His words, his advocacy justifies those creeps coming in. And just because he doesn't quite look as creepy off the get,
You speak for yourself on that one.
He's not as creepy as a fucking fat man.
Oh
with
no,
a
he's
bikini
just
on.
as creepy in my eyes.
Yes, but not off the swing.
For you.
I would say that people at Disney saw him walking in the bathroom and just kind of rolled their eyes. Whereas, like, when you see an actual, like, full-on man...
I don't know about that, because there were kids in there, too, and a lot of these people don't come from progressive areas, so they're not used to seeing someone like that just barging into their bathrooms, standing up, and then taking photos and videos in front of the mirror. Like, they're not used to that, and so that probably startled them. Pissed a lot of people off, I know that.
I'm sure it startled them, but I'd like to point out the difference in the man with the shorts versus him.
I'm still trying to understand what the point is you're trying to make, aside from the fact that he's not as creepy as some fat guy.
I didn't say he's not as creepy. I said that he looks more passable than that fat guy.
Okay. Was that your point?
No, my point is that the words he says, his activism, justifies even creepier, more predator-like people to go into the women's room and to go into women's spaces because of what he's saying. He justifies it. He says, you can do it, and you shouldn't judge me. Just use genderless language.
Yeah, and also the perversion that he has going on doesn't help the case.
No, not at all.
Boop.
Sheer volume of people. Like recently, as we've gotten closer into this, I've done a lot of like watching, and scrolling. Seems like there's such like a huge variety. It's not even just those ones that are like singling you out or only basing their platforms off of you. There's so many like offshoot trans creators, little creators. Like it seems like there's a fairly large amount of them that aren't specifically like a Lillytino T page or whatever.
I mean, what you're asking is...
Does that concern you? Does that give you any second thoughts about maybe the way you're approaching, the way you deliver some of your content, so to speak?
I mean, look, as a content creator, I'm sure you can understand that the thing that makes us successful as content creators, and really the thing that makes someone built to be a content creator in the first place is having a point of view. I know who I am and what I believe. If someone wants to tell me I'm wrong, be them cis or trans, okay. There are certain things that I have done in my life that I've been wrong about. But advocating for trans people is not one of them. And I also think it's important to note that it is really cool and trendy to make content about how awful I am. People know it gets views, right? There's a flight attendant who I've never seen in my entire life who's making thousands of dollars saying that I was on their flight and that I got misgendered and that I made a big stink out of it. Didn't happen, right? It's important to note how people can be swayed by their algorithms, right? When it gets down to it, my content, like, I'm not the only person saying that Kurt Cobain was trans, right? I'm not the only person saying that trans women should be able to use bathrooms, but the way I say it is different. I know who I am. I know what I believe
Yeah,
in.
because he doesn't say it, he just does it. He does it, makes a spectacle out of it.
He doesn't say, hey, have you ever considered? He says, this is the truth. This is what it is. Stop kicking trans women out of women's spaces because they're the same.
Well, when you act like a pervert and you come off as a creep, we don't want you in our spaces. Especially if you're saying that you are a combative person.
Yep.
Then obviously women don't want you in their space. You're not just going in there minding your own business.
Men barely want you in their space.
Yeah, but I think men would take one for the team just so these guys aren't in our spaces.
Oh, a lot of them are gonna. Yeah, 100%. He's fucking crazy.
I'm always open to feedback, but I do this because I have something to say. And if people don't like it, okay. And I think that it's...
I'm always open to feedback unless you call me he, and then I'm not listening because I don't respect.
Because I don't take you seriously.
That's what it was. Thank you.
Well, nobody takes him seriously. When he does things, then we take him seriously because he's actually doing things and we're seeing him do these things. But when he says he's a woman, obviously, how could you take that seriously? I
You can't, and
it's
you
just
won't.
apparent.
It's easy to see video after video after video of people trash talking me and ignore the fact that I actually do have a lot of support.
It's just easy to trash talk you. Listen to yourself.
Not everyone that hates me. A lot of people like me. Otherwise, I wouldn't do this. Like, every single person in my life told me that what I was doing was wrong, and I wasn't like, and I didn't get any nice messages saying that I really helped someone, or like, keep going, or, you know, you got this, girl, like, I look up to you, I watch your streams every day. Like, it's not insignificant. It's not like I have a small little group of people and the whole world hates me. It's easy when you get stuck in that algorithm of negative videos about me to believe that it's everyone, but it's really not.
Okay, so how do you justify creating such descriptive content regarding gender reassignment inside of a children's themed park?
Get it?
Disney World's for everyone.
No.
Yeah, it's themed towards children.
There's things for children. There's plenty of things for adults too. I mean, plenty of rides need to be a certain height. Children can't ride a lot of rides at Disney World. They sell alcohol there. They have events that are just for adults.
So you don't see anything wrong with creating those?
First of all, do you ever notice how the longer this interview goes on, the more his body language oozes male? Like
Yes.
like this.
Uh-huh.
Just all male. And Disney World is marketed towards children and families who have children, not for creepy adults like this guy. So Disney World is a place for children, just like a playground is. Mm-hmm. Adults can still go there, but it's specifically marketed towards children.
Adults can go anywhere pretty much. It's kids that can't go certain places.
Yeah.
Kids. Mm-hmm. Adults can show up anywhere at Disney. Adults can show up anywhere at any theme park, but they have Kittyland where kids go, where they don't sell alcohol, where they don't do adult themes. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like Walt Disney, its whole entire purpose was to make a family-friendly place. We would learn about America and history. And instead, now you guys have made it destructively DEI forward. But don't get me started. I used to love Disney.
I used to love Disney World too.
I've never even been to Disney World. I just love Disney as a whole.
I started going when I was a really, really tiny child who could barely walk. I am thankful that back in the day, there weren't creepy guys like this who were in the bathroom because that probably would have traumatized me as a little girl.
I was too poor. I was a Six Flags kid where they definitely had creepers.
Well, we were poor too, but in the 80s and the early 90s, it was a little bit easier to take vacations.
Yeah, in the late
families.
90s, apparently, it was pretty hard.
Yeah, that's when it started becoming tough.
Those pieces of content, regardless of, I guess, if you think it's geared towards children or not, you don't think there's anything wrong with that?
Well, Disney World is not just for kids. You could say that I filmed the video, how about this?
I don't know if you think anything's wrong with that. Yes, so you don't think anything's wrong with that?
Of course not. Why would anything be wrong with it? There are no kids in the video. Kids weren't listening.
What does it accomplish? To get there and
But you hear children
them
in the
running around,
background.
yeah.
You know they're there. They're around.
Disney had no kids that day.
Yeah, they just all of a sudden disappeared and ran for the hills once they saw Lillytino enter.
I pray to God that's how children react when they see Lillytino.
Me too.
Why not make that sort of content in a more private setting or setting that
your house.
a lot of people perceive to be a children's themed park? Why not do it somewhere else, basically? Why there, of all places?
Because I love Disney World. And there's a lot of fun, interesting visual things that I can use to make content with.
Have you ever been?
Yeah, like a corn dog. Oh, wait, you can buy those at the store and go back to your home and do the whole corn dog thing. You didn't need to do it in front of children at a theme park for children.
They sell cake pops at Starbucks.
I mean, his argument is like, his response
Null
is just
and void, I know.
ballpark.
Did in any Disney park prior to transitioning and becoming a content creator?
Yeah. I grew up in Florida. Busch Gardens, Disney, Universal, Islands of Adventure. Love it all. How many times I rode the Men in Black ride when I was in middle school over and over and over again?
I don't
It
know.
was like a part-time job riding that ride.
So, going deeper into that, recently the Florida Attorney General has said that they are investigating the issue regarding your content in and around women's restrooms on your recent trip to Disney World. Do you not think this type of attention is harmful towards our community?
It's a bit of a skewed way to ask that question, right? I guess the real, if you take the Florida Attorney General out of it, maybe we should talk about those pictures to begin, right? Those pictures I took because it's important to normalize trans women in women's bathrooms. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, but the argument is that I guess the place you decided to do this is really what all this revolves around. You're adamant that Disney World or Disneyland isn't a children's themed place, but most people, the majority of people that visit or the reason they go is for the younger age people. Of course, you have adults there and things like that, but the majority of who's
By going into a bathroom where you're making a big stink, peeing, standing up, and taking photos of yourself, creeping women out, that's somehow going to make people be okay with you in their bathroom.
Oh, it's normalizing it.
That's not normalizing. It's normalizing being weirded out by these dudes in our bathroom. It's having an opposite effect.
But Nick Tino just said it was normalizing it.
Normalizing being creepy in the female bathroom is just going to bring attention to the fact that there's creepy guys that are taking photos
That are going in the female bathroom.
in our bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
it's kind of fucked up. You didn't think this all the way through. It's a circular issue.
No, when you're all up your own ass and you have that narcissistic attitude and personality, I'm not surprised that they don't think. Nick doesn't think. He just does and then tries to defend himself with retarded arguments after the fact.
He believes that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, well, might
can-
want to
you
ask
can
the prison
see.
guard for forgiveness once they throw your ass in jail. And prison guards aren't very nice most of the time.
I would.
attending these parks and what their trips are around going there is children.
False. I mean,
So you don't think that that video and the bathroom selfies and including other people created negative attention towards our community?
Ryan, there is negative attention towards our community whether or not I am making content with Disney. People are not like
So create more negative attention.
Don't
Let
you
me
think you're
help you.
enhancing the negativity towards our community?
Well,
there's negativity.
There's already negativity. So what's it going to do if I bring more harm to your community?
What harm is it that I'm making money off the negativity that
Oh
I'm
my
bringing
God.
to our community? That's what I'm
Oh
hearing.
my God. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for that retarded response.
It's like, oh no, there's a fire. Let's put it out. And it's like, I'm going to pour gasoline on it. There's already a fire.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, no, we use water. It's like, well, it's already a
It's
fire.
already burning. I'm like,
Might as well add
what I'm
some
doing
more to
isn't
it.
going to affect it, you know? It's not going
Why
to
not
make
make
it spread.
it bigger?
anything they can to attack us with.
Yeah, but
Literally,
there's smarter ways to go about it rather than like doing all of this in like Disney World is a whole thing. Like as a parent myself, I just can't wrap my head around how you could think that that location specifically would be the place of places to go make these videos about gender reassignment and take a bunch of bathroom selfies. With you have people in the back that didn't consent and they've came out and said they felt uncomfortable. And then you've responded with like a video of somewhat mocking this person. Like all of this you feel is okay to do.
I think you're
You don't see any wrong, Lily?
Huh?
You don't see any wrong in any of this? Like, why?
Why would I? You tell me.
You're
Come on.
so vain.
I don't have morals. You give me morals. Your morals are what I'll go off of, not mine, because mine are fucked. So whatever you want me to say, tell me and I'll say it.
No, that's not him.
That's what he was just saying. He goes, what do you want me to say?
He's not. He's not
saying
going to
it-
bow down
No,
to
he's
the
saying
trans
it-
community. I'm telling you.
He's saying it just to make the point of like, what do you want me to say? Do you want me to say what you want me to say?
You want me to
'Cause he's-
actually have
yeah.
a soul?
Yeah, because he doesn't.
'Cause I don't.
He doesn't care.
You actually want me to care about other people and how I'm affecting them? Why would I do that?
The people that I'm claiming to be,
And the people I'm claiming to be speaking for. on behalf of.
That's cute. How do you feel about potentially being investigated and potentially charged with a crime in Florida? Like, how does Lily feel about this being like a thing?
It is already a crime to be trans in Florida, more or less. And it is becoming that more and more every single day.
I'm sorry, last time I checked, it wasn't a crime to be trans in Florida.
Hey Siri, is it a crime to be trans in Florida?
Here's what I found.
Not really. It just goes off into like laws. It didn't tell me much besides, there's some lawsuits against some trans people.
So pretty much, if you are existing as a trans person and you're not invading women's spaces and doing things that are against the law, well, you can thrive as a trans person. There are many trans people who live in Florida, and it's not illegal for them to exist.
I'm pretty sure
this
Gorlock-
kind of language is the shit that he's stating, which is absolutely false, is creating an unnecessary panic for people who already have mental health problems.
Yep. I'm pretty sure Gorlock is in Florida like all the time.
Yeah, and no one's bothering him.
No.
He's actually making some money off that shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and that's a trans person that's currently existing in Florida.
Yeah, he's just going off of the radical trans activist narrative. It's not even actual trans people.
It's a blanket statement, too, to say, it's illegal to be trans. It's not.
So he's making the fire excuse again.
And then putting more gas on the fire.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, I'm already illegal being me standing in Florida, even though I could walk around Disney and do whatever I want and no one bothered me. So, I mean, why not do illegal stuff in Florida? It's like, that's what he said.
He said go in the bathroom because it's already illegal for me to be around in Florida.
Why not do something that's illegal, like go into the female bathroom when I'm a male? Because it's already illegal for me to exist, even though
it's not
when I
illegal.
was in Florida, no one bothered me.
I was going to say, it's not
I didn't
illegal.
get arrested.
Yeah.
But when you do something that's illegal, you're going to get arrested.
Yeah, well, you posted pictures of other people without their consent, and you were filming in a bathroom. That's
a
what you're
private
gonna.
space.
That's what you're gonna get pursued for illegally.
Why do we have doors on bathrooms? Why do we have barriers near urinals? Because people have to pull out or expose their genitalia. Bathrooms are private areas, especially for women. We need those private areas so we feel safe. The last thing we give a shit about is the safety of some dude who is making us feel unsafe with his presence in our space.
Truth.
It is already a crime to be trans in Florida, more or less. And it is becoming that more and more every single day. Being trans puts a target on your head in Florida. Whether or not you are a content creator making a point in Disney is unsafe. Trans people.
So if you were making a point in Disney, you knew the significance that the location would have on the content you were creating. You know how it was going to be perceived going into it. This wasn't a surprise to you when you...
The point that I am trying to make, and a point that I think I make quite well, is that we are not going to be sitting around in our houses sad that we can't be ourselves in public. I'm allowed to be trans at Disney, okay? There is this weird misconception that I'm going around Disney World, handing out corn dogs to kids, saying, oh my gosh, have you heard about bottle surgery? Oh my God, if you drink this drink, just drink it, you'll turn trans, right? Like, I'm making content that is engaging, that is provocative on purpose.
At the same time, controversial. Would you not agree?
How art works.
So controversy is going to create negative energy, especially in our political climate that we're in right now. We're being attacked from all angles. You feel that this is the right time and place to be bringing that sort of controversy, which in turn negative attention to the trans community?
You
think it's more beneficial than it is harmful?
So what's the alternative? Let's say that
Not making that content at Disneyland is the alternative. Doing it somewhere else besides Disneyland and Disney World. Like, people make content at Disneyland and Disney World, but they're eating the corn cobs. They're not talking about turning them inside out and using cake pops to describe bodily parts.
I think
Do you ever feel that there's a line you shouldn't cross, or you're willing to cross any line to get that attention, the views, to get your word out?
Two things. Number one, I recently posted a video about sports, and we don't need to talk about it other than for me to say, when I was filming that, specifically the shots on the track and field, there were children around. They were around. Children are everywhere. That's what I'm trying to do. They're at the park. They're everywhere except...
I'm not gonna lie. I love that he's sitting here like, I'm legally allowed around children.
I'm legally around
I'm legally
children.
allowed to be around children. No one can stop me. No one's stopped me yet. So kids are everywhere. I'm gonna be around kids sometimes. That's the energy I get. like, it's not just Disney that I'm around kids. I'm allowed to be around kids. like so defensive.
Yeah, like suspiciously defensive.
And I know. Like, if it was you getting accused, blah, 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 or whatever, right? But the point of the matter is, I'm not going to Disney cutting up hot dogs and saying, this is a wee-wee. So that's my take.
Yeah, you're literally
love-
talking about sexual reassignment surgery around children at a park that is designated and designed
For children.
for kids.
I also love the cockiness, the point I want to make.
I think this,
and I think
the way
I
he's
make
sitting
it well.
is very cocky too.
The word sentence chose the point I'm trying to make, and I think I make it well. Like it's a very cocky way of saying it, and yes, the sitting makes it cocky. The
Makes
entire
it well.
That's what he said. I
know,
make it
it's so
well.
It's so stupid. And that's the
And you're not. The sad thing is you're wrong too. You're not. You're
Yeah.
not making. You're proving you make our point.
Yes.
Very well.
Very.
Very well.
Yes.
So, Lillytino.
My partner, right? I can't go walk down the street for 5 minutes without seeing someone who's a kid, right? We exist in public as trans human beings. Kids exist at Disney, kids exist outside of Disney. I like Disney because I love theme parks, okay? I love food, I love silly, funny content. I grew up watching a show called Good Eats, where
Are you calling the content you made at Disneyland silly, fun content?
yeah, I'm cutting a corn dog. That's silly. Like,
The manner in which you're doing it and the descriptions you're using it as.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think that's okay.
okay. I mean, a lot of people don't think being
Huge
trans.
amounts of people, and it makes them feel negative towards other people that are trans,
Okay.
regardless if they agree with it or not.
Do you truly believe that without my content, people would feel no negative feelings towards trans people?
I feel like there would be less.
You think that?
That person's right. That person's fucking right.
Like I said, gasoline, fire.
Yes.
Oh, let me put out the fire. I just want to put more gas on it. Why not?
There's already a fire.
Might as well make it worse.
I am responsible for a lot of negative feeling towards trans people.
I think you have a significant reach. Your most viewed video is 40 million, nearly 40 million views.
Not even close to 40 million. Like,
It's 39 million I checked today.
where am I getting 40 million views? I'm not getting paid for 40 million views. Maybe 4.
Okay, to keep going into that, what's the most amount of money you've ever earned off a single video? Are you willing to say that?
Okay, was probably the video that Elon Musk commented on a couple of years ago. And I will say that the average I make on any given video is a couple $100.
Even with millions of views, 10 million views, you get a couple $100.
I mean, if you're in the creator program, you know that the RPM, the rate per mil, TikTok ain't generous with that. Depends.
You're telling me that you get millions. Sorry, I had an itch. You're telling me that you get millions of views and you make a couple $100. Couple hundred here, there. Like, if that's the case, get off TikTok, because that's terrible.
Yeah, you're not getting paid enough for the views.
I'm not even trying to stroke YouTube's ego, but we make better than that. We haven't even hit 1 million views on YouTube.
Not even on a single. No,
I mean,
even
collectively maybe, but not like on a
one
single video. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no way. No way.
No way.
Depends on a lot of things.
I do know you have to have qualified views and things like that. I don't really make money on views, so. But I've seen as much as $1,000 per million views RPM.
What? Say that one more time?
$1,000 per 1 million views for RPM.
Not even close. It's like RPM.
Know that every creator's RPM is different based off a bunch of different things.
No.
So you talked about your following and having a lot of people that support you, and you're not wrong. You have over 400,000 followers, right?
Yes.
Okay, currently there is a petition with over 500,000 signatures, more than that follow you, that think you should be banned, regardless of if you could actually be banned from a petition like this. How does it feel knowing that that large amount of people think that what you're doing is not appropriate and shouldn't be allowed on TikTok?
There are more than 500,000 people in the world that believe that trans people shouldn't exist. So I'm not too bothered.
Okay. So you do not do and make this content and this, what you know is controversial. You said yourself going into Disneyland, you knew the reaction you were going to get. If you're not doing this for views and money, why take your content so far and be so controversial about it?
The point is not to be controversial. The point is to engage, to educate. If you sit down and aim a camera at your face and say, bottom surgery is the process by which a surgeon takes a blah, 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 does a blah, 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 inflicts a blah, 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 no one's going to care. No one cares. But if you take an otherwise boring topic, whatever it is, and this is why I was talking about the shows that inspired me as a kid. Good Eats is one of them, Don't Let a Science Guy, Iron Chef, Mythbusters. These shows all take scientific concepts, maybe not Iron Chef, but they take relatively uninteresting textbook concepts and they bring them into their content with props, with lights, with music, with all these different things to make it fun, exciting. And that's how they teach you, right? No one cares about a textbook. It's boring.
Yeah, it's a more fragile environment that we live in, especially in this political environment that we have and all these things that trans people are dealing with, to purposely go into Disneyland and make and talk about such descriptive and inappropriate things at some points.
What's inappropriate about it?
It's just not an appropriate thing to do at Disney World.
Why?
I don't understand how you think that.
Why is it inappropriate? Because you're talking about taking a penis and inverting it to be a vagina while also talking about how you had your testicles removed. You're literally talking about your genitalia specifically while there are children around you.
And then using foods as a prop.
Yeah.
To show what's going to happen to your genitals and what has already happened to your genitals.
If he doesn't think that's inappropriate, then he's probably someone who should not be around children.
Maybe that's why he was so defensive of it earlier.
That's what I'm thinking.
That is okay. And going into more of this, some would argue that your content is being aimed and directed at children. Between the impersonation of children's characters and the content in the Disney parks, you've even gone as far as creating other content, as you would like to put it, while portraying children's characters. How do you justify this? And how could you think that this type of behavior is acceptable?
With Velma?
Several children's, or not several, I know of two. That one and
Lola Bunny?
Miss Rachel.
Oh, I know.
Two different. I'm not saying you did both in the other content, but you've used children's characters.
I've never brought Miss Rachel into other content ever, nor would I.
You have a video where you're like dressed up like Miss Rachel. Am I wrong?
There's no. Velma has been a character for like 60 years and is a staple in cosplay, both other content and otherwise. And I think it's ridiculous to suggest that Velma is, cosplaying Velma is crossing a line.
Okay, so if you guys find his Velma content, you will see one thing in particular, that it is blatantly sexual. I don't know if he does the OnlyFans content with the Velma costume. Put it in the comments below if you do know.
I'm assuming
but
that
I
must be
have
it.
seen a plethora of videos of him dressing up like characters, specifically Velma, and doing some sexual shit.
I'm pretty sure he just confessed to that. That's why he's saying, oh, gee, she's been around for 60 years.
I mean, I don't care how long the character's been around. It's a character that I watched when I was a kid, and other kids watched it. So when you're taking like Barney the dinosaur and you're dry humping Scooby-Doo, you're taking kids' content and making it sexual, and that's wrong. It's wrong.
I agree. However, I hate to break it to you, but if you've ever been on, you know that this is something that is not exclusive to Lillytino.
Exactly. But
Yes.
he's trying to say that it's not wrong. And it is wrong if your viewers are also
Minors.
kids.
Yes. I will have to only say, and I'm not defending Lillytino whatsoever, but OnlyFans is an adult platform with adult users, and if your kids get your card and go on it, that's your responsibility as a parent to not let them do.
Yeah.
So I'm not defending Lillytino. I'm just simply saying parents need to do better.
Yeah.
And Lillytino, no Lillytino, there's going to be continued, what do they call those? Not spoof, parody. There's going to be continued adult parody movies of everything, because that's rule 34 of the internet.
Right, but usually those movies are rated R.
No, and they're behind a wall that says I have to be 18 to get there. Yeah, no, and that's why I'm saying it's also on the parents for if they let
Your child on TikTok to watch Lillytino content where he's dressing up like a kid's cartoon character and doing sexual stuff?
Well, I'm assuming a lot of that's behind the paywall. No,
On TikTok? No. It ain't.
I don't go on TikTok because it scares me.
I know. I don't blame you.
So you don't understand why people are upset about that. You don't understand how that makes people upset.
Say that one more time?
You don't understand why those situations would make people upset.
Oh, I understand. I'm not stupid. I mean, I get it. But also, the alternative, yes, I could say, you know what, my content is too provocative. Let me just dial it down a little bit. My content immediately becomes boring. And the message you send out.
You think you only have something if you're controversial? I don't think that's true. I think we have the power to do a lot without drawing the lines and taking things as far as we can possibly take them.
That's just who I am. And there is no reality in which we as a trans people can advocate for ourselves and make progress without upsetting people. People do not want us to exist. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah, you're right. There's people that just don't want us to exist, but drawing such negative attention, it creates negative energy and it just builds and spreads like a wildfire.
Why is it negative?
Because it's so controversial.
Why is it controversial? I know I'm
You go to Disneyland and make it controversial, and you did that as a conscious thought. You just said you knew that going there, the reaction you were going to get. You consciously went there knowing that it was going to cause controversy and create negativity and build on the wildfire of hate that is already directed at the trans community. You did all this knowing that you're smart, Lily. I know you're smart. I know you're smart, Lily.
No, I'm smart too. Let's talk about that last thing I said, right? Adding to the wildfire of hate against the trans community, okay? Without me, take me out of the equation, the wildfire is raging. Look at the legislation, it's out there. It's bad days, tough days. The alternative to making content that is not provocative, right? Pushing people's understanding, poking and prodding at people's internalized transphobia, right? I know that when people I knew when I was taking those pictures in the bathroom, that when people saw them, even people who say they are allies, internalized transphobia will be triggered, right? Seeing a clocky trans woman in the bathroom is going to trigger some people. That's the point, is to challenge people's...
Literally trying to trigger people, though. That's a negative energy. You're triggering them in a negative way.
I mean, if thought-provoking art is crossing a line, then we just have a disagreement on what art is.
Is art illegal?
Newsflash, that's art.
Is art illegal inherently? Because it's illegal to go into
Inherently, some art was illegal. I don't know. I guess it's all... art is objective. I mean, you could consider porn art.
Yeah, because men think that way.
Is it art?
Sorry, take that out.
Is it art though?
There are more sensual videos out
I'm talking
there.
about just hardcore PORN.
No, but that does lead down to the fact that graphic images is just that. It's like naked bodies. So like I can see like a couple making a loving graphic film.
Okay. So do you think by pushing porn out into the public that it's not only normalizing it, but people are being more accepting of it? Or do you think that
What?
will have...
I think it has made people more accepting of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we should be that way with it. I think that it should be a personal, private thing. And that if you are a porn star, it should be kind of like the 90s when it was like kind of like, okay, you're a porn star, you can be our life, and we're going to just be regular people.
Okay, so porn art, and you're making art. Can you make that art at Disney so you can normalize it?
No, because porn is explicit. And art can be explicit. We have a lot of explicit songs. That's art.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that we let it play on Kid Station. We don't
Right.
let it play in rated G movies.
Right,
We put a little E next to it to say it's explicit.
right,
Yeah, so there's a wall, there's a restriction.
right. So art is objective.
And can be restricted for viewing because of the contents of the art. It's also why movies have ratings.
Right, because we know that children shouldn't be able to see things that are sexually explicit, even if people consider it art.
Yes.
But his argument is that the creepy content he makes is art and everyone should see it so we can normalize it. But how he performs his art is, well, as we have seen throughout the time Lillytino has been around, is that his art
Yes.
has actually made people dislike trans people as a whole because he is the technical mascot spokesperson for the trans community.
Yeah, him and people like Dylan Mulvaney who wear it like a costume. Mm-hmm. But I still will say that Lillytino makes Dylan Mulvaney look bearable.
Yeah.
If you are upset that a piece of art...
Art is not going to Disneyland and cutting up a corn dog. That is not art. That's diabolical.
Get it?
Why not?
Have you ever communicated with a minor in an inappropriate way?
No.
Get
There's an
it?
allegation of a stream and a mom coming in and changing the subject.
The vegetable thing, I made a video about that.
Yo, hunty, get it. That's all I got to say because I love that. It's like the start of this video was I'm not giving my opinions, and then it's have you ever talked to a child in an explicit way? I fucking love it. Get it?
That person was 25 years old. There are people in the stream right now in my stream. I guess you can't see them. They were there.
So that was just a misunderstanding. And I know there's misunderstandings, and I know people skew things. We saw that prior to this when somebody made a video that looked like you were saying something about me. But when I step back and I look at everything from a holistic view and take opinions from all across the board, I see so much more negative responses to the content you create than I see positivity or people being uplifted. I just, as I stand back and look at this, from not looking at either of you, whether I like you or I don't like you, the overall consensus that I see is the majority of people are not happy with any of this. They think it's completely unacceptable.
Because it's unacceptable.
I mean, once again, we get back to the idea that our algorithms tell us what we want to hear. There are plenty of people.
That's not true because I've done all sorts of research. I'm not just stuck on the everybody against Lily algorithm. I've looked in all corners. I've talked to all different sorts of people. I've seen all different sorts of things.
When you know,
the overall consensus is like more negative than it is positive.
Versus my TikTok comments. I refuse to be someone I'm not. I am a clocky, confrontational, provocative person.
You know what group of people also say that?
That they're clocky?
No, that
Sorry.
I'm going to be the person that I am. P-words. A lot of bad people say, I'm not going to change who I am for anyone else. Well, you will
Cult
if the
leaders.
law gets involved.
Cult leaders definitely said stuff like that.
Yeah. But eventually, you can be who you are all you want. But when you're breaking the law in order to be who you are, don't be surprised when your cellmate has a problem with you. Because this kind of stuff doesn't make anyone in your community look good. And it certainly doesn't make you look good. And I'm sure a lot of inmates are going to have a problem with you once they see you walking in. And that's where your is going to eventually be if you
acting
continue
like this, yeah.
to be yourself. Because this isn't being yourself. This is intentional. What he's doing is intentional.
It can still be him being himself, but it's still f***ed up.
Yeah. And that just shows to us and to everyone who watches this content that who he is perverted, kind of predatory.
He's still an edgelord.
He's still doing it. Yeah, he never grew up.
He never outgrew the edgelord. Oh, that's back when I was. Yeah, back when I was.
You still are. You're still that fucking 13-year-old boy.
18. He was 18 when he was doing the edgelord stuff, he said. Either way, you're still
13,
looking for
18.
the reaction.
Still acting like
For
a
the
child.
reaction.
Not going to change who I am. Well, you know, when push comes to shove and your is next to the fire,
You might change your mind.
you might not have much of a choice because the law don't give a shit about who you are. It only cares about what you do. If you're doing creepy shit,
You're going to get got.
yep.
That's who I am. I am not the kind of person who is going to make content that is goody two-shoes trans girl. Oh my God, I have every box ticked for you. I'm exactly what you want to see so that we can, please, if it's all right, please, we'll be exactly who you want us to be.
So how far are you willing to go with this? Is there no line you wouldn't cross?
Of course
If you're willing to go to Disneyland and make the content you make and take bathroom selfies with people that aren't willing participants in the background, posting that for millions of people to see, is there no line you wouldn't cross? Like, when does it stop? Like, what length do you stop going to get your word out or get your message out?
I probably need to be misgendered in space. That's probably the farthest I would go.
Okay, last thing. Would you like an opportunity to publicly apologize or take accountability for any of your actions or to anyone you negatively impact?
I'm gonna pass on this.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you for sitting down with me.
Thank you very much.
I try to keep my thoughts and opinions on matters out of it as much as I could, but I got a little
My friend,
too far in there. I have no disrespect for you as a human. I respect all humans. I don't agree with a lot of the things you have done. I appreciate that you're willing to sit here and let me ask these questions. And yeah, I don't know if you have any last things you want to say.
that's it. I think we've covered it.
All right.
Thank you.
So when you make content that is literally controversial to a degree that it is insulting and it's offensive and it is breaking the law and making a 50% part of the population uncomfortable because you're invading their spaces, you will eventually get on the algorithm of someone like Asmund Gold, who will make a video about you, a 50-minute video about you, and in 20 hours, those views will go to 1.1 million, and the comments are going to say pretty much the same thing, which is going to be targeted at the trans community based on how you're acting because you're the mascot. And who do we blame? We have to blame the bad actors who have infiltrated and have been the spokesperson for an entire group of people that people already have had a problem with. And instead of making it so people have less of a problem by doing things differently, you're intentionally making it more of a problem for them in order for you to get more attention and views. And so this isn't about the trans community. This has nothing to do with the trans community, what he's doing. It's all about him.
It's
This is
all about Lillytino.
It's all about him. He could give a flying f*** about the trans community and anyone in it, regardless of what he says. Anyway, like and subscribe to this video. Join our memberships.
Hard in love, I'm falling, sneaking, stalking, follow you wherever you go, creeping, crawling.